Imagine a place where cars roll uphill. A jungle river boils at 95 degrees Celsius with no volcano for 700 kilometers. Or a valley where glowing orbs hover for hours, detected by radar and spectrometers, yet utterly baffling to every scientist on Earth. Today we're uncovering 7 locations where the very laws of physics seem to take a vacation, culminating in the most inexplicable anomaly of all. We live in a world where everything feels explained. Newton's gravity, Maxwell's electricity, Einstein's relativity. Every school child knows a stone falls down, water flows downhill, and light travels in a straight line. The laws of physics, we are told, operate uniformly across the universe. This is what textbooks, lectures, and documentaries teach us. The universe is a clockwork mechanism, and we understand its gears. But then you encounter one of these 7 places, and you realize the textbook forgot a crucial footnote. Some exceptions apply. Places where water flows upward, cars roll uphill, radios fall silent, lights hang suspended in the sky, and gravity itself demonstrably weakens, objectively confirmed by NASA satellites. Our countdown begins with number 7, a road where cars drive backward, uphill, on the Leh-Kargil Highway in India, nestled in the Himalayas at an altitude of 3,500 meters. The air is thin, the landscape stark with barren rocks and not a single tree. A yellow sign on the roadside reads, "Magnetic Hill." Switch off your engine and put your vehicle in neutral. It sounds like a joke, but you comply. You turn off the engine, release the handbrake, and your car begins to roll uphill at speeds up to 20 kilometers per hour without any engine power or external force. Just up. Imagine sitting behind the wheel, hands resting on your knees, foot off the pedals, as your car defies gravity, gaining speed against the backdrop of Ladakh's lunar landscape, with its desolate mountains and sky so blue it's almost black. Locals claim a supernatural magnetic force pulls metallic objects here. Pilots flying over the area report navigation instrument malfunctions, and the Indian Army, with bases along the road, officially acknowledges the anomaly. Science offers an explanation. It's a gravity hill, an optical illusion. The surrounding terrain is such that the horizon line is obscured, and the slopes are angled in a way that makes a descent appear as an ascent. Your brain, lacking visual cues, misjudges the incline. You are in fact rolling downhill, but your eyes insist otherwise. This is a compelling explanation, and dozens of such gravity hills exist worldwide, like Electric Brae in Scotland, Confusion Hill in California, and Gravity Road in Pennsylvania, all explained by optical illusion combined with an obscured horizon. However, Ladakh's magnetic hill stands out. First, at 3,500 meters, the air is 30% thinner than at sea level, which can affect brain function. Second, military pilots flying over this section of the Leh-Kargil Highway consistently report strange behavior from their onboard instruments, which are not susceptible to optical illusions. If you ever find yourself on Ladakh's magnetic hill, feeling your car accelerate uphill, try explaining that to your stomach. It certainly hasn't read the physics textbook. Claiming the 6th spot is a place where water has decided to flow not down, but up. In the western Ghats of India, at the Naneghat mountain pass in Maharashtra, during monsoon season, thousands of liters of water cascade down sheer cliffs hundreds of meters high, yet they don't fall. Instead, the water ascends. Streams that should plummet downwards reverse course in midair, returning upwards towards the summit. A waterfall flows in reverse. Picture this. You stand at the base of the cliff, gaze skyward, and witness a torrent of water, having gathered momentum from its fall, suddenly slow, halt in the air, and then begin to rise, atomizing into a fine mist, carried further upward. It's a sight so unnatural your brain struggles to process it. You know water cannot flow uphill, yet your eyes are seeing precisely that. There is an explanation, and it's not mystical. Wind. The Naneghat Pass is a narrow chasm between mountain ranges. During the monsoons, wind accelerates through this corridor to speeds sufficient to overcome gravity for lighter water streams. Gusts literally snatch the falling water and hurl it back upwards. Physics isn't violated. The force of the wind in this narrow gorge simply proves stronger than the force of gravity. But when you witness it firsthand, the scientific explanation offers little comfort. The waterfall flows up, period. Entering our top 5 is a place that doesn't just look strange. It physically affects everyone who enters. In Gold Hill, Oregon, USA, amidst a redwood forest, lies a circular area 45 meters in diameter, the Oregon Vortex. Open to visitors since 1930, it has defied a complete scientific explanation for 95 years. Here, balls roll uphill on a seemingly inclined surface, brooms stand vertically without support, and two people of identical height standing a meter apart on a level board will appear dramatically different in stature. Then switch places, and the other person now appears taller. Compasses spin erratically, pendulums swing off the vertical, and animals like dogs, horses, and wild deer consistently avoid the area, as if fenced by an invisible barrier. Skeptics propose a tilted cabin, and skewed floors cause the brain to lose its bearings and hallucinate. It's true that a tilted structure exists on the property, and a significant portion of the visual effects can be attributed to proprioceptive errors. When the floor is slanted and the walls and ceiling are distorted, your vestibular system sends one set of information to your brain, while your eyes send another, resulting in an illusion of distorted gravity. But here's the catch. Many visitors report nausea, dizziness, and a sensation of physical pressure even before entering the building, simply by approaching the zone's boundary outdoors, where no tilted surfaces are present. Animals have consistently avoided the area for all 95 years of observation, and most importantly, compass needles. A compass doesn't react to a tilted floor, it responds to magnetic fields, and within the Oregon Vortex, compasses behave erratically. The Oregon Vortex remains one of North America's most studied, yet most unsolved anomalies. Science has explained about 90% of the observed phenomena, but the remaining 10% stubbornly resist explanation. And it's precisely these unexplained aspects that draw thousands of people here every year. At number 4 is a desert where everything falls silent, the Zone of Silence, or Zona del Silencio, in the Mapimi Desert of Durango, Mexico. This area, roughly 50 by 50 kilometers, is where radio waves inexplicably cease to propagate. Turn on a walkie-talkie, and you're met with silence. Your mobile phone has no signal, compasses spin wildly, and radio receivers pick up nothing but static. In 1970, an American Athena rocket crashed here. This test missile, launched from White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, was supposed to land 200 kilometers north within U.S. territory. Instead, it veered off course and plummeted precisely into the center of the Mexican desert. During the recovery operation, the U.S. military discovered intermittent radio communication and false readings from navigation instruments in the area. They quietly retrieved the rocket and left. Local farmers recount other strange occurrences. Meteorites fall here more frequently than the global average, with dozens of cosmic body fragments found within a 30-kilometer radius. Plants exhibit unusual mutations, displaying in large sizes and atypical forms, and albino tortoises are found with an unusual frequency for their species. Birds prefer to fly around the zone rather than through it. Several scientific explanations have been proposed: high magnetite content in the soil, underground deposits, proximity to a tectonic fault line, and the influence of Earth's magnetic field at this specific point. Each theory explains some phenomena, but none accounts for everything. Intriguingly, the Zone of Silence is located roughly on the 30th parallel, the same latitude as the Egyptian pyramids, the Bermuda Triangle, and the Himalayas. While likely a coincidence, it's one that conspiracy theorists adore. The Zone of Silence isn't a single anomaly, but a cluster of seemingly unrelated anomalies at one spot: radio silence, frequent meteor showers, plant mutations, and rockets veering off course. No single explanation covers it all. Perhaps it's a convergence of several geological and magnetic factors that are mundane individually, but, together, create something inexplicable. Or perhaps, we're simply not asking the right questions. The bronze medal in our ranking, 3rd place, goes to a river that boils alive everything that enters it. Deep in the Peruvian Amazon rainforest, in the province of Puerto Inca, flows the Shane Timpishka, or boiling river of the Amazon. It stretches for 9 kilometers, is 30 meters wide, and 4.5 meters deep. The average temperature in its hottest section reaches up to 95 degrees Celsius, with the maximum ever measured being 99.1 degrees Celsius, just 1 degree shy of boiling. Imagine trekking through the dense, humid Amazonian jungle, where the air temperature is 35 degrees Celsius, and suddenly, through the trees, a river appears, shrouded in thick white steam. You extend your hand toward the water, feeling its intense heat from a meter away. Local Ashaninka people use this water for cooking, simply immersing their food in the flow. Animals that accidentally fall into the river perish in seconds. Geothermal scientist Andres Ruzo, who has dedicated his life to studying this river, describes the gruesome process. First, the eyes are cooked, then the flesh. The animal drowns in the scalding water, boiling from the inside out. Here's the enigma. Hot rivers exist in places like Iceland and Yellowstone, but they are always located near volcanoes. The nearest active volcano to the Shanka, Timpishka, is over 700 kilometers away. There's no magma nearby, no apparent tectonic activity. So where does the heat come from? Ruzo and his colleagues have determined that rainwater seeps through geological fault lines deep into the Earth's crust, several kilometers down, where it's heated by the geothermal gradient. It then rises back up through the same fissures, emerging at the surface already boiling. This process is called deep hydrothermal circulation. While logical, such rivers are exceedingly rare on Earth. Why here, specifically? And why on such a scale? 9 kilometers of continuous boiling water. Local shamans say that under the river lives Yakumama, a giant serpent, the mother of waters, who gives birth to both hot and cold water. Her spirit embodied by a massive snakehead-shaped rock on the riverbank. Science has explained the mechanism, but not why. It operates this way, and only here. Silver in our ranking, second place, takes us from heat to light. In Norway's Hessdalen Valley, located 120 kilometers southeast of Trondheim, lives a community of about 150 people at an altitude of 600 meters. Amidst rolling hills and the Hesja River, the silence is broken only by the appearance of mysterious spheres of light in the sky, a phenomenon observed since the 1930s. Imagine a winter night at -15 degrees Celsius, the sky black and cloudless. Above the valley, a sphere slowly rises. It's brightly white, sometimes yellow, sometimes red, hovering in the air at altitudes ranging from 20 to several hundred meters. It might hang there for seconds, minutes, or even an hour, then begin to move, gently swaying like a balloon, or suddenly dart away, vanishing at speeds up to 30,000 kilometers per hour. These lights emit up to 19 kilowatts of power, with surface temperatures estimated around 5,000 degrees Celsius, similar to the surface of the sun. These are not mere legends, these are documented data. Since 1983, the Hessdalen lights have been studied by Project Hessdalen, an international scientific initiative involving Østfold University College in Norway and the Italian National Research Council. 4 automated stations equipped with multispectral cameras, VLF receivers, magnetometers, and radars operate around the clock. In 1984, a single field expedition recorded 53 observations in 1 week using instruments like radars, spectrometers, and seismographs. When scientists directed a laser beam at one of the spheres, the object changed its blinking frequency, as if responding. Data collected in 2024-2025 further expanded our knowledge, with drones capturing some spheres rising from the ground or mountain ridges. Spectral analysis reveals emission lines of oxygen and nitrogen, suggesting plasma. There's a correlation with geomagnetic activity, quartz rocks in the valley, and radon in the air. Hypotheses abound, involving piezoelectric effects, radon decay, and dust ionization. Dozens of theories, yet no consensus. The lights continue to appear, but the Norwegian Research Council, which allocates 11 billion Norwegian krone annually, has provided almost no funding for Hessdalen's study. It's a phenomenon recorded by radar, spectrometers, and cameras for 40 years, yet official science largely chooses to ignore it. And finally, the absolute leader of our ranking, taking the first spot, a place where gravity is weaker. Not seemingly weaker, not appearing weaker, but genuinely, measurably weaker, confirmed by satellites. This is Canada's Hudson Bay, a vast, cold, gray expanse of water in the country's northeast. At first glance, nothing special. Yet, if you stand on the coast of Hudson Bay and step onto a scale, you will weigh less than at any other point on the planet. Not by much, just fractions of a percent. But this isn't an instrument error. In 2002, NASA and the German Aerospace Center launched the GRACE satellite mission, 2 spacecraft flying 220 kilometers apart, continuously measuring Earth's gravitational field. GRACE discovered that over Hudson Bay, gravity is below average by approximately 0.5%. This is negligible for daily life, but significant in physics. The planet shouldn't have such holes in its gravitational field. Why? 10,000 years ago, the Laurentide ice sheet lay here, a colossal mass of ice up to 3 kilometers thick, covering all of eastern Canada. Its immense weight pressed the Earth's crust into the mantle, much like a finger indenting a cushion. When the ice melted, the crust slowly began to rebound, a process geophysicists call post-glacial rebound. But after 10,000 years, the Earth has yet to fully recover. In the Hudson Bay region, the mantle remains deformed, the mass of rock redistributed, and the gravitational field weakened. This explanation accounts for roughly 25 to 45% of the anomaly. The rest, according to GRACE mission data, is linked to mantle convection currents, slow movements of molten rock that literally pull matter from beneath Hudson Bay to other regions. Earth is not a perfect sphere. It's a living, flowing, heterogeneous body. And at this one point, gravity is slightly weaker than it should be. Consider this. You could travel to the Canadian coast and physically, objectively, and instrumentally weigh less than you do at home. Not due to an illusion, not due to altitude, but because 10,000 years ago, a glacier as thick as Mount Fuji lay here, and the planet still hasn't recovered from its weight. Earth's mantle flows slowly, like thick honey, and in this spot, it remains indented. The Earth remembers the ice that has long vanished. It remembers and cannot forget. Gravity, the most fundamental force in the universe, holds the moon in orbit, planets around stars, and galaxies in clusters. Yet even gravity isn't uniform everywhere. Even gravity has weak spots. Even gravity is imperfect. If gravity itself can falter, what then can truly be considered constant? Ladakh's magnetic hill, the inverted waterfall of Nanegat, the Oregon vortex, the zone of silence in Mapimi, the Amazon's boiling river, the Hessdalen lights, the Hudson Bay gravity anomaly, 7 distinct points on the map, 7 places where familiar laws seem to bend, or at least pretend to. Some of these anomalies are fully explained, like the road's incline or the wind in the gorge. Others are only partially understood. We grasp the mechanism, but not why it functions precisely here and nowhere else. And then there are those, like the Hessdalen lights, studied for 40 years, where each new season brings more data, but no deeper understanding. All of them serve as a potent reminder. We believe we know the rules. We think physics is a set of formulas that works identically everywhere, always. And then it turns out that in a Norwegian valley, glowing spheres respond to lasers. In a Mexican desert, radios fall silent. In the Peruvian jungle, a river boils without a volcano. And in a Canadian bay, you weigh a fraction less than you should. Perhaps the rules work everywhere. We just haven't learned all of them yet, and Earth occasionally reminds us of this. Where the textbook ends, reality continues. Which of these 7 places astonished you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, especially if you're hearing about any of them for the first time. If you found this journey fascinating, please give this video a like so the algorithm can share it with more curious minds. And subscribe to Buried Worlds so you don't miss our next exploration into places where reality defies the textbook. There's even crazier stuff ahead.